Blue Cross, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Flyers from blue line to blue line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyers goaltending great Bernie Parent and Paul Jolovitz.
All righty, folks. Welcome to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm Paul Jolovitz. We're here at Chickies and Pete's in a bustling Marlton with all kinds of TVs, all kinds of people on this Wednesday afternoon, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, and seen live on YouTube at WBCB Sports. I didn't think I'd be able to do this. This show is dedicated to my mom, who passed away last Thursday. Our co-host is Brad Marsh. How are you, buddy?
Very good. I'm so sorry to hear that, Jolly.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thought I'd be able to get through that, but I wasn't. Sorry about that. We got a great guest tonight who'll make us smile more than cry. 50-goal scorer multiple times with the Flyers, member of the Legion of Doom line, and he doesn't like Pepsi. Mr. John LeClair, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. My condolences, too.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. We've seen a change in the coaches, Brad, last week. Not Terry Bradshaw, but Bradshaw, the guy you played with in Ottawa. Flyers had lost 6 straight. Torts gets fired. We'll talk about that. Bradshaw comes in. They've won 3 in a row. Kind of climb into the vortex of emotions and tell me what happened.
Well, with regards to winning 3 in a row, I think when a coach firing happens, and I know, John, I assume you played against a team that just fired their coach, and it's always a tough game because the players, they take they share the responsibility in what just happened as well, and the team always plays well. There's always a bump. The players play with a little more jump, a little more enthusiasm, and they have to take on some of the responsibility for what happened. And plus, new coach, new direction. Who knows what they're going to do next year? But they're also playing for ice time because it's a different set of eyes looking at the game.
For sure. When a coach gets fired, every guy in that room takes some responsibility for it, and it's absolutely a wake-up call. And as you said, that's fairly typical. The team has a little bit of a jump. But yeah, the biggest thing is, it's a new philosophy behind the bench. It's a new person. So these guys, like, maybe my style wasn't for that guy, but it might be for this guy, and they want to show him what they can do. Yeah,
I played with the Flyers, and Jolly, I know you've covered the team a long time. Back in 1982, they fired Pat Quinn with 8 games left in the season. And he had just signed a new 5-year contract. He was coach of the year, the infamous kiss of death, the previous year. And they fired him with 8 games left in the season, and that really shocked everybody because we weren't a great team. We hadn't become that team that Keenan took over just yet, but we were still in the playoffs and still considered one of the better teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are both real good players. I never obviously played in the NHL, but when a coach gets fired and it's your team, do guys, whether it was you or anybody else, tend to think it was me that did it, feel any kind of responsibility? I mean, when you had a coach fired, how many times did you play where a coach got fired when you were 3, 4, 5, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few, obviously. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm selfish. I never thought it was my fault right away. I took responsibility. I thought, like, it's everybody. We're a team. I don't think any one player thinks it's on them. You're a team, and that's what it is. We all realize that whatever we're doing is not good enough, I think, and that's the biggest message is everybody in this room is better than what we're giving, and, we got to need more. And obviously, there's a lot of guilt involved. I mean, it's a job. It's somebody's livelihood. It's not a good feeling to be in a player when a coach gets fired.
Obviously, Torts was here for 3 years. You work with the Flyers. I don't want to talk about any kind of decision-making that you were a part of, but it seemed like, Brad, that it was just kind of time. He'd made those comments about didn't want to coach this kind of team. I like Torts. He's won a cup. But sometimes you floor the throttle, and the whole thing with Cam York. Do you think it was time?
Well, the comments that he made, which a lot of people are talking about, I think they were taken out of context, and especially saying them in Toronto where everything is taken out of context. I don't think he meant how it was portrayed in print or in the media. Because I would agree with him. Who the hell wants to coach a losing team? And he's as frustrated as management is. He's as frustrated as the fans are, and everybody that works in the hockey department. Everybody was frustrated, and believe me, John and his coaching staff, they tried everything to turn the ship around, and nothing was working. And so when nothing works, it's time to make a change, regardless of what circumstances happened in that week to lead to the decision. Nothing was working, and so it was time to make a change.
Well, the SS Flyer, if it was a ship, is still on the dock. A lot of people thought it might be sailing off into the playoffs last year. This year, it's still on the dock, moored there. Johnny, how important is it for the fans of this city, for the team? I know there's no point really in getting the playoffs, you get whacked in the first round, but just to get to the postseason, feel that energy, and then start progressing toward a cup.
It's absolutely going to be more and more important as we move forward here. But I know that we're not as close this year point-wise or being in the playoff race, but I think we made actually steps forward this year and not backwards. And the record might not reflect that, but in the long run, it was an important year for us. And they did a great job of clearing cap space and being very flexible and ready to go with draft picks and, who knows, free agencies.
What are a couple, obviously clearing the draft space, cap space, 7 draft picks in the first 2 rounds, signing free agents, but guys who are on the team this year, who took the biggest steps in your opinion?
Guys that took steps for me, I think Bobby Brink had a real good year this year. He kind of, went from a player that they thought was kind of up and down in a little bubble, became a real strong player for us. I think it's amazing what Mitchkoff's doing. Just jumping in the league and the way he's played this year has been a great surprise for us. I'm happy to see his progression and looking forward to where he can end up.
Is he a Calder guy, Brad? No Flyers ever won the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. He's got Calabrini and Hudson and him. Did he climb back into the race, or is this garbage time too little too late?
No, I think a lot of the people that vote, who votes on that? The newspaper
Media.
guys?
I think, media.
I think those that pay attention will take a look, and he responded to what just happened, and he probably doesn't know what the heck is going on. And the coach isn't here anymore, and he responded, and so I think that will reinsert him. Not, in my opinion, not that he was ever out of the mix, but the kid in Montreal, you got the Canadian media, just talking about him with every other breath, and Celebrini, I mean, I don't know anything about him, never seen him play, but when I did see him play, he was invisible, like when the Flyers
Wait a minute, I've never seen him play, but when I did see him play?
No, I've never seen him play previously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you're on the ice, blue line to blue line. Al Morgani was here a couple weeks ago. He says, what the hell does that mean? Hockey is played like 185 feet. What's blue line to blue? But anyhow, I had never seen him play previously, and when I did see him play against the Flyers, he was invisible on the ice. So that's all I have to judge by him.
All right, Johnny, we like to talk about lines. You remember the Legion of Doom line with Eric and Michael. And John Tortorella changed lines like some people change.
Every coach does now, it seems.
But every 5 minutes. I mean, you have Mitchkoff and Konechny now playing with Couturier. Mitchkoff and Konechny are both natural right wingers. Matvei's on the left side. Does the side you're on, I mean, you were left wing, obviously. Does the side you're on matter? Is it 3 guys with chemistry? Do lines stay together? Should they stay together? What's your opinion of that?
My feeling is chemistry is the biggest thing. I mean, if you're a winger, you can play both sides. Obviously, you prefer one side over the other. I preferred left, but I had no problem going and playing right wing. It's not an issue. And for these guys at their skill level, it's not an issue at all. I think chemistry is kind of what you're looking for.
The skill players like Mitchkoff, he finds the open ice. It doesn't matter where it is. He's going to find the open ice. He's going to find his scoring opportunities. And nowadays, I think every player is used to playing a different position. Defensemen, they can play left or right side, and the forwards, they're interchangeable a lot.
All right, so if you look at this year, and somebody said, well, they came close last year. They started strong. Obviously finished flat this year. Started strong. Something went wrong. I mean, obviously rebuilding. Team's young, got injuries. Got salary dumps, you got all kinds of stuff. But, Brad, you first. What went wrong? Tortorella got fired. Coaches don't get fired for winning Stanley Cups. What went wrong the most for the Flyers this year, in your opinion?
I think when, the season was still young and there's still a lot of expectations and the players were real eager to take a step from last year. I think, and we talked about it on the show, it seemed every Wednesday, I think we weren't getting a save from the goaltenders, and I think that kind of led or started the downward spiral, if you will. And when you're not getting the save, especially the save at the right time of the game, that really does deflate the team, and you're just not as gung-ho to get out there for your next shift. And because then you end up making safe plays as opposed to trying this and trying that, because if you try something and it backfires, it's going to end up in your net.
Johnny, I got to be brutally honest, which is all I ever am. I know you work with a team, but I watched Sam Mercer for a couple of years now. He got thrown in a very tough spot, obviously, with Carter Hart. Fedotov played well a couple nights ago. I've watched and the more I see him, I just think Sam Merson's a backup. A good backup, but I don't think he's a starting goaltender on a cup team in the NHL. Do I have an incorrect opinion?
I think it's still a little early to tell. I think Sam was thrown in a tough situation. When things went south with Carter Hart in the previous year, he was thrown in a situation where he had to play probably a lot more than he was ready for. It's kind of tough being your first 2 years in the NHL and you're playing, 55, 60 games. That's a lot to ask from a young guy. And as far as, looking at Kolosov and Fedotov, those guys are still looking. They were in the KHL last year. They're trying to feel their way too. And I think, you've seen the progression as the years has gone on. With Sam, I think another year under his belt, another year of understanding what it is to be the starter, you'll start seeing the Sam you saw at the beginning 2 years ago.
But if goaltenders take a lot longer to mature.
If they mature. If I said to you, both you guys, I'm going to set the line right now at a half for the amount of Stanley Cups Sam Merson ever wins as a primary goalie, regardless of who he plays for, where he plays for down the line. He's only 25 years old. You betting over or under on that one?
Well, he needs, yes, we talk about the goaltenders, and yes, I kind of put a little pointed the finger at them, but there's 18 other guys dressed, yep. And the team defense is big. And if you look at Sam last year, he was pretty solid, and even right after when did Carter happen? In February?
Yeah, sometime
like
that.
Yeah, he was pretty solid, and then we got to the trade deadline, and and we traded Johnson, got a first-round pick for him, which was a great deal, and everyone knew that was going to happen. But at the same time, I believe it was
Walker.
Walker.
This
I'm
year
sorry.
Johnson,
Yeah,
yep.
Johnson at Walker last year. Nick Seeler got hit with a puck, not even blocking a shot. He just got hit with an errant shot, broke his foot, and was it Rutzolinen that got hurt last year? And so we got to the trade deadline. We trade one of our top defensemen, and our two other defensemen got injured. So all of a sudden, we've got guys up from Lehigh playing in position, the defensive position, that maybe shouldn't have been there. So all of a sudden, Urson, not only is he playing way more, he's seeing shots that he didn't see previously because of the defense that were in front of him. So he got tired, and so on and so on. And so he had a tough year last year after the trade deadline when we were very, very thin on defense.
Johnny, we just saw the four nations face off in hockey. Everybody loved it. Obviously, Canada beat the U.S. in overtime. You helped christen the Wells Fargo Center at that point with the 1996 World Cup of Hockey. How important was that to you to play on that U.S. team, to play well? How much did it propel your career forward? Just how much fun was it? And what do you think we got going forward with this best-on-best hockey, which obviously worked? The Olympics next year and the like.
I mean, that's stuff you dream about in your career, to be able to represent your country and play in a tournament like that with that kind of magnitude. And I think you saw what it meant to all the guys, just how hard they played. When I watched that first period between Canada and Sweden, I was like, oh boy, like they're playing for keeps here tonight. Like they were going.
They came to play.
Everybody came and gave it a hard effort, and that's what people do when you're playing for your country.
And that 96 team, where were we? We were having a beer somewhere. We were talking. You were reeling off the players that were on that 96 team. It's in the Hall of Fame. Paul was one of the coaches.
Yeah.
And that team was like a who's who of hockey, let alone USA hockey. It was unbelievable, that squad.
Yeah, I mean, that year, everybody, there wasn't any ban on Russia or anything like that. So every NHLer participated, and it was amped up. Guys were playing hard. and everybody was giving their all. So, like you said,
and Canada did, just for the record, the Canadian has to say, Canada did outshoot them in that final championship game.
But nobody cares.
But you outscored us.
They could have won the face-offs, too. What does that matter?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Unfortunately, there's no World Face-Off Championships.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, Canada won this year. The U.S. will win the Olympic gold next year. We will see. We have one of the U.S.'s great all-time players, John LeClair, here. We're at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. It's on the ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. We're going to come back after this and talk more hockey. Stay with us, folks.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie Pete's. Our selection of seasonal cocktails make any meal better. Come sip and enjoy our bourbon cherry lemonade, made with small batch bourbon, muddled fruits, and refreshing juices. What a winner! Is fruit your flavor? Try a watermelon shandy cocktail. A smoky grapefruit with mezcal and fresh lime. Or sip and enjoy a very berry martini. All pair perfectly with our seasonal menu features. Come sip and enjoy at Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAY-EASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3, serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1957. You can now listen to all your WBCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
Brad Marsh is here tonight with John LeClair. We'll get that fixed sometime soon. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. This week it's Matvei Michkov. Got back in the Calder Cup race, 4 goals, 3 assists, and 3 Flyer wins. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless, which is a good segue into our next topic of fearless fighting in the NHL. 3 fights in 9 seconds in a game in 4 Nations. A lot of fights on Friday on tape in the beautiful thing that you go through in Helm called Friday Night Fights. How'd that go? I heard it was a great time. I couldn't go for obvious reasons, but tell us about it.
Well, it was a wonderful night. It was, Friday Night Fights celebrating old-time hockey. And we bring in tough guys and show the videos, and then they're on the stage talking about it. And it was a wonderful night. We had a great tribute to Bob the Hound Kelly. We had a nice video.
Retired on Saturday.
Yeah, we had a nice video. Well, he's still working. The season's not over yet for Hound yet. But anyhow, we had a nice video done up for him, and we had Hound bobbleheads made up for him too. So everybody that came to Friday Night Fights got a bobblehead. And but a great day, a great night, and then the following day at the Wells Fargo Center, the Flyers played tribute to him, and it was very, very special.
Great time for Hound. We want to wish him the best of luck. He's here every year, and whatever he does, he's had a great hockey life, and stayed here and lived his life here, and he's been friendly and great to all the fans, and fought a little bit. John really was not a fighter, obviously, neither you, Brad, but you have any idea how many fights you win in your NHL career, Johnny?
No, but I guess it's under 10.
Do you remember any of them?
A couple I got in, but yeah.
Who's your most memorable fight?
Well, I got in a fight with Rob Ray one night.
That's not a great fight.
We could have had you Friday night.
I could have.
Razor was there. He was
I did all
hilarious.
right.
He was hilarious.
Yeah, I did all right. He was trying to get out of his jersey, so I just skated with him. But then we got tied up, and my helmet came off, and he hit me, just punched me in the back of the head. And like you said, I didn't fight that often. And the next morning, putting your helmet on with all those lumps on your head, I realized why I don't fight that much.
Yeah,
not fun.
Can be difficult. Who's your best fight against? I think I've asked you this before, but
I had a lot of fights early in my career, and back in those days, like now the tough guys kind of square off. And back then, a fight could happen at any given time, and you fought, and it really didn't matter if you won or lost or won. You were fighting for the team, fighting in the spur of the moment. But actually, someone sent me a tape the other day of my very first fight was against Mel Bridgman in the Philadelphia Flyers, and so that was kind of cool. And so I got to send it off to Mel now, and we can both rate the fight.
You talk about heavyweights and lightweights. I hate to do this to Pelle Eklund. He seems like a great guy. I got to know him a little bit, but I never really saw like a Pelle Eklund versus Bob Probert type of lightweight versus heavyweight type of situation. They just didn't let it happen. The heavyweight would step out. You guys ever remember the most lopsided fight you ever saw?
No, I mean, usually it's something like that. It's when it's a 5-on-5 and there's a message being sent.
Yeah.
Like, I know when we had that game against Ottawa when everybody was fighting.
Oh, amazing. Most penalty minutes in NHL history.
Char grabbed somebody that really wasn't much of a fighter, and he gave it to him pretty good. Stuff like that you don't want to see. And there's a lot of respect in the league. Like, guys usually don't grab a guy like, they're going to
fight. Yeah.
So, you always had that kind of respect. But when, you got a situation like a game like that, a hand like that, like the Ottawa game, that's kind of out the door.
So it was a good night, Brad. You got anything more coming on this year? I know you got a trip to Ireland.
Yeah, we have an alumni weekend coming up in June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, which is three days, 3 events: pickleball, walk, run, and ride, and a golf tournament. Then we're off to Ireland, and then we have our fantasy camp. So we got a busy summer coming up.
Sounds like fun. If John Tortorella called you guys and said, "I'm 66 years old, but whoever's called me, they want me in for an interview and they want a recommendation." Johnny, you work with the Flyers. Let's talk positive and not negative. What would you tell that team is the best quality of John Tortorella?
I think Torts did a lot of great things for the Flyers. We're in great. He's really put these young guys in the right frame of mind on how to play the right way. You got to take care of your end first before you want to go on the offense. As far as being just responsible in all aspects of the game, work ethic, never quit. He instilled a lot of things in these young players that I thought was very good for their careers moving forward. The man cared a ton. He really did. He really cared, and it showed. It showed around how he talked to his players. I mean, sometimes the message might have come across differently the way they were receiving it, but it was mostly because he cared.
What about you, Brad?
Well, I would agree with what John said. I'm not in the dressing room, not around the hockey team, so I'm just, the old hockey player sitting up watching the game as a fan. But the one trademark that this team has is we never did give up. Like, we lead the league in comeback wins this year. Yep. And that doesn't necessarily come from the bench, the players. That comes from the coach instilling in the players that the game's still in reach. Keep working hard. We just get one, and then we'll get another one, type of thing. So we never gave up, and what was instilled in them over the last 3 years will still go a long way to us turning the corner and becoming the championship team.
Brad Shaw is the interim coach. I personally don't think he's got much of a shot at the full-time job, although I wish him all the luck in the world. Without giving
10-0, he goes 10-0.
Well,
name moves to the top of the list.
You always got a shot. I mean, every opportunity in the world gives you a chance to change someone's mind. Johnny, you're with the team. Without giving any state secrets away, what kind of coach do you think the Flyers are looking for to accelerate this rebuild and turn Matvei Michkov into something more, and anything else he might need to do?
Well, I think, teaching's still going to be involved. We have a young team. We have some young players still coming in, hopefully, that are going to be a big part of, this future. So I think a coach that can relate and teach is going to be obviously something that's going to be high on the list. And Shawzy's done a great job with our D. He's been dealing with those young D for the last few years now, and he's done a good job with them. So he's a good teacher.
You just look at Sanheim. 2 years ago, the question was, what are we going to do with him? And now he's on Team Canada.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen overnight.
Didn't happen overnight, and a new guy will come in, and you got 3 first-round picks, 4 second-round picks. It's a lot of draft picks, Johnny. I don't know what the draft. Supposedly not the world's greatest draft, but you can always get great players. You can use those picks to pick them to trade for current guys. You don't want to really rent people, but any idea where the Flyers will go? Not necessarily names, but strategy in your sessions with Jonesy and Danny and the like?
There's not. I mean, you got to see what the landscape's in front of you. You don't know where you're picking. You don't know who's in front of you that's going to be taking what. So a lot of that's done on the fly. Obviously there's a direction where they want the team to go, where they want to build. That will become priority. But it's still too early to tell before you know where you're picking and who's going to be available to you at the time.
Hopefully a Mitchkov falls to him again.
It'd be nice. I mean, there's some pretty good players in the top half of this draft that can really help a franchise immediately. And then like any other draft, you're hoping that you get a 3rd or 4th rounder that kid developed a little later than everybody else, and comes a superstar.
How did Luchenko play?
Yeah, he played well this morning. They played this morning against Bridgeport.
Yeah, I talked to Lappy. They said they played at 10:30.
They had a 10:30 game this morning in Bridgeport.
What the heck is that all about? For kids?
The AHL does it for kids games. Yeah, they have the kids they got out of school and they come for a field trip to the game. So it's a lot of screaming kids in the building.
Well, a lot of kids are interesting. Because I was going to talk about size.
But getting back to it, Luch was really good. He first game not so good. But he's really taken off and doing great. Kid's going to be good.
Good.
Hopefully he can do it next year. One of the things the Flyers need, obviously, to anybody watching, is size. You got a lot of small players on this team. Johnny, you were a big wing. Brad, you were a pretty big D-man. How important, obviously, size in itself doesn't matter at all. Got to be quality size. Got to be able to play. But Chip Kelly had a famous line, John, big people beat up little people. How important is size to a hockey team? You look at Florida, big team. Edmonton, big team. Winnipeg, big team. Big guys that can play, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to play first. I mean, you got to be able to skate. But obviously size can help. When you look at the teams like you mentioned, especially in the back end, having a big back end, it never hurts you. I don't think you need all 6 to be monsters. But it does help to have some size back there. And, I mean, look at our team when Risto's in the lineup.
He's out for the year, by the way, right?
He makes a difference. I don't know the exact status of it.
They said that, yeah.
He's banged up a little bit right now. So, but like I said, it does help having a big body back there.
Brad, you're a pretty big defenseman. How important to you is size?
Well, I think if you look at the teams, once we have the playoffs set, the 16 teams, you look at them, they're all a little bigger. And then when it goes to 8 teams, like, wow, they're all a little bigger. And then when it goes to 4 teams, like they all have size, but you hit the nail on the head. You just can't have big dummies out there. Those dummies got to be able to skate. They got to be quick, almost like an NFL lineman. You're looking like, how can this guy move? And he runs the 40 and whatever he would run it in. So they have to be big, but yet agile and fast.
But in this draft, wherever, Johnny, you pick, I mean, you can get the number 1 pick in the lottery, who knows? If there's a Cole Caulfield, for example, a little guy that can score, unless he's, nobody's Gretzky-like, but unless he's an absolute A-plus offensive type player, I can never see you guys taking a guy like that.
Pretty soon we'll have to say Ovechkin-like.
Ovechkin-like, yeah. Well,
we talk about that all the time. That's why I brought it up. Yeah.
We're going to talk about it after the break. He's up to 891 now.
Yeah.
Does he do it this year? He's 53%.
I think he gets it.
I do, too. I think they feed him. He may get it next game. You don't like this. Gretzky's going to be there.
I just have the utmost respect for Wayne Gretzky, and I don't know. He's going to break it, like obviously. But 2 years ago when they first started talking about it, I said, no, we don't need it, bro. It's Wayne Gretzky's record, and but now it's inevitable that he's going to break it.
It's amazing because Ovechkin, top 5 in the league in goals, broke his leg, missed 16, 17 games. My respect for him grows every day. I'll tell you what.
He's playing like a young kid out there, for heaven's sake.
He's doing great. I mean, people are talking like he's going to retire. I'm like, why is he going to retire? He's going to score 40 goals this year.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's still producing at a high clip, and his team's got a chance to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to go 900 and plus.
Was that surprising, speaking of Washington? Like, I'm surprised that they're the best team in the league. I don't really know their
No, they had a huge jump, and when you looked at their roster at the beginning of the year, you kind of were like, well, and then they're a team that put it together. They grabbed some nice pieces over the summer to add, and they've gotten a real good goaltending tandem down there that's played well for them.
Yeah.
I actually would not want to win the President's Trophy. Boston 2 years ago set an all-time record for points, lost in the first round. Washington's going to be, if they win the President's Trophy, which they may not, Winnipeg might, it's going to be under extreme pressure. But it's all about the Cup. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about much more about the Flyers. We're here at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, Independence Blue Cross on the ice. We'll be back with Mr. LeClair and Mr. Marsh, and hopefully a good radio comeback following this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Come taste and enjoy some features from our latest seasonal menu. Try our Southern California chicken sandwich, our delicious Southern glazed cutlet with avocado and jalapeno pineapple salsa, and our seafood pasta with our signature crab, mouthwatering shrimp, and penne pasta with our world-famous red or Sicilian sauce. Pair it with a seasonal cocktail like our very, very cherry martini or a watermelon shandy cocktail. Taste and enjoy at Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
If you recognize my voice, you know about my music. What you may not know is since I founded it in 1992, the Elton John AIDS Foundation has reached over 100 million people. We've saved over 5 million lives. We've helped combat LGBTQ+ stigma and fought for civil rights. We need you to help end the AIDS epidemic once and for all. Learn about how you can help at eltonjohnaidsfoundation.org. And follow us at EJAF on Instagram to see our very latest accomplishments through the Rocket Fund.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz, Brad Marsh, and their guest, John LeClair.
All righty, thanks for being back here at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. Time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Brad Shaw inherited a 6-game losing streak when he took over for John Tortorella, and the results have been immediate. 3 wins in his first 3 games behind the bench. See what happens Saturday night against the Canadiens. That was your Flyers Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions carry the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. We're here with Brad Marsh and John LeClair. Johnny, this country honors your birthday every year with celebrations all over the nation to celebrate the eve of your birthday. What's it like having a birthday and watching people and ships and harbors,
awesome.
Hundreds of thousands?
Yeah. I mean,
how did that happen?
Sky lit up and fireworks, it's awesome.
All for your birthday, huh?
It's great. It's even better when they pull the fireworks back a day and then do it on it.
Does that ever happen? It rained or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes, or it depends. If 4th of July falls like on a Thursday, they might do a Friday night kind of thing.
There we are. All right, you're from Vermont. My father's worked for Senator Leahy from Vermont. Vermont's not exactly the home of athletes in this country. Are you the greatest athlete from the? I mean, how many Major League ball players or football, anything? Give me a list of other people than you from Vermont.
Well, people that were born in Vermont that played?
Or grew up in Vermont, one or the other.
Carlton Fisk technically was born in Vermont.
Wow.
Grew up in New Hampshire, though. But there's been a lot. I mean, most of them are skiers that people won't really recognize right away. And I'm sorry to say I'm not in the skiing world and stuff like that. Your primary sports that you're talking about, like, hockey, football, baseball, and basketball. There's some baseball players that have played, pro careers, not, I'd say, Hall of Fame stuff that I name off the top of my head.
Got the kid from Maine now, Cooper Flagg, playing for Duke.
Yeah.
Northeast isn't recruiting
but
paradise.
The biggest thing I'll say now is, like, growing up in Vermont, like, the world's changed 100% now. You can be a hockey player from anywhere. I mean, we got them coming from California, Arizona, all over the place. So, they're going to come from Vermont. They're going to come from Maine. People are, you're going to see people from all over, and we're seeing it now.
All right, Brad grew up in Canada, a little more traditional hockey area, looking to the playoffs, which start in a couple weeks. Really wide open this year, isn't it?
Very wide open, and we were just talking off air there. It looks like Toronto and Ottawa are going to meet in the first round.
Chief.
And that was a rivalry forever back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, all of Canada be on the edge of their seat for that playoff round.
First rounds of the playoffs are always, because you get great matchups.
It's awesome.
People like it's so much fun, and it's like 4 games on each night. And it's a rivalry. It's a lot of fun.
And Craig Berube in Toronto, buddy of ours on this show, have Scotty Lawton with him. Is this the year Toronto? I mean, Toronto's like the Red Sox now.
They're not the Red Sox.
What's the difference?
What?
What's the difference?
Red Sox, when they had charisma and they had the fun group. I mean, that Big Papi, all those guys. That was I get it. It's kind of the same, the curse, but the Sox suffered much worse than they did.
Oh yeah, I think they did
1908.
too.
Yes, much worse.
1918. 86 years. It's been like 58 with Toronto. Toronto. I mean, obviously they got a shot, but either you guys optimistic about the Blue Jays, the Maple Leafs this year?
I don't know. I like Ottawa's chances against them if they meet in the first round. Like, Ottawa's young and they're big and they're really enthusiastic right now, and they've had really no success over the last number of years. They had an ownership change. They brought in a whole new hockey department. Davey Poulin there is working there, and they have a Tkachuk or whatever. Both of them are pains in the asses, and both of them you'd love to have them on your team.
Yeah, great players. I mean, that Ottawa team's got a ton of young talent. They're good. I mean, you wonder if experience will be an issue, but Toronto's got, even if it doesn't work out that way, Toronto's going to have a first tough round. It's either going to be probably Ottawa. If not, then it's going to be one of the Florida teams. So it's going to be a tough road for Chief.
But when you look at, you won a Stanley Cup early in your career with Montreal, people say you're going to have to play so-and-so, so-and-so. You've got to play everybody anyway. You're never going to win the Cup by beating, Wissahickon. So would you rather take a tough team out right away, work your way in, you need a hot goalie? Is there any formula, or you just have to play well for 2 months?
No, I mean, that's it. There's no formula. You got to play what's in front of you, and you got to beat good teams to win the Cup. It's not going to happen, beating bad teams. But the issue is, like, you can run into a Florida that could beat them up in the first round, and then you're banged up the rest of the way. That makes it tougher. It does make it tougher. I
think Florida's going to win again. I mean, Brad Marsh, to me, the most important trade made in the NHL this year is Marchand to Florida.
Is he playing yet?
I don't think
Is he back playing?
Yeah, he's back playing.
There's another player that you hate, but you'd love to have him on your team.
Well, you talk about those guys. When talking about the Tkachuks, Brady, and Matthew, I think, and I don't know anything about playing in the NHL, that damn important to have a guy like that, one of those grit guys who's also a really good player, can handle a million different roles. They're both leaders. You got to have some kind of, as some people call it, sandpaper. I think having Nate Tkachuk or a player like that, and you were a lot like that, although you were a great player too, how important is that on a team, not just to have talent or not just to have this or that, but to have somebody that can dance more than one dance, Johnny?
It's very important. Every team wants those guys on their team. A guy that can physically dominate and have the talent to, score you 30 goals.
And he's a personality too.
He's got the other team's already thinking,
The other fans know him. The other fans hate him. And
it
so
causes
on.
the distraction that's healthy for your team.
Yeah.
It
Which
really
one's
does.
better?
That's a tough question. I mean, Brady's got a lot of responsibility playing center the way he does. He does a good job with it.
Much bigger, right?
Yeah, I think Matthew might have had a little bit more point-wise success, but I think Brady, his overall game, I really like.
Yeah. All right, so you scored 50 goals 3 times. Brad, you were a great defenseman.
Obviously, I scored 50 goals over 15 years.
Maybe. It's 50 more than I scored. McDavid obviously is...
I didn't even get that many.
Well, I got none. Maybe I got one somehow, somewhere. Is McDavid the best player in the league? Because if I had one player to take in the NHL, obviously McDavid is, conglomeration of skills, but I'm not sure I'm not taking McCarr or even Quinn Hughes. Who are you taking, Johnny?
They're both up there. McKinnon's up there. Draisaitl's up there. They're like, he even, which is crazy to me, Sid's in that conversation.
Still.
There's a lot of great players out there, and it's a great debate. Obviously, McDavid seems like he's a little different when you watch him compared to the others, but, Nate McKinnon's not very far behind at all. The stuff Draisaitl can do is amazing.
Is he a lot like you? So, to me, he seems a lot like John LeClair.
I don't know. I'd take that as a compliment any day. He's terrific. And then you said, like you said on the back end, McCarr and Hughes are just they're a different type of talent out there in the NHL.
And I don't I'm at every game, but I don't necessarily sit down and watch the games because you're busy, blah blah blah. But when Colorado come in, I made it a point of sitting down and watching the game, and McKinnon was unbelievable. Like he is really good, and he's big. Like we were talking about before, he's a big boy,
solid guy,
and can play. And man alive, I was super impressed with him.
We talk about Vermont. Nathan McKinnon and Sidney Crosby, both from Cole Harbor, Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
not exactly New York. Who's the second best? What town are you from? St. Albans?
St. Albans, yep.
Who's the second best hockey player ever from St. Albans, and what are they doing now?
So that'd be Toby Duclain. He got drafted by the St. Louis Blues.
Really?
Yes. And Toby's been back in St. Albans. He's got a gym, a creamy stand, and now he's just been doing a bunch of property stuff.
Nice. No, things are going well. You're from London, Ontario. You got a bunch of people from London, huh?
Oh yeah, London's over the years they put out a lot of players, and but as Johnny says, it's the players are coming from anywhere now. Like we're talking about the Chuk brothers, they came from St. Louis. St. Louis, the one year they had
the father played in the NHL.
Yeah, they had about 5 first-round picks out of St. Louis. And
then that team they had there.
Yeah, and if you look at the women's national team, the girls program in St. Louis is really strong too. There's a number of players from St. Louis on the national team.
I'm pretty tough on the Hall of Fame. I think the Hall of Fame is truly for the great, not the very good, not the popular, not the anything. But how in the friggin' world is Keith Tkachuk not in the Hall of Fame? 538 goals. Do people not like him? I mean, what you played with him?
No, I don't think that's the case. I mean, Walt's liked a lot. He's only been passed over once, though, hasn't he? Or has it?
A couple times, I think.
Oh, it's been?
Yeah.
It's surprising. You would think that's a layup. But, I mean, I thought JR was a layup, too, and that took how long? So, I mean, look at Big E. Big E's a layup, too, and he didn't get in for 3 years.
So how much of his popularity, guys? How much do people do you like that guy? Not do you look at this career and tell me what he did on the ice, but do you like him? Is that a big part of it?
I'm not in I have no idea what goes through their minds. You would hope that's not the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would hope it's just based on what was done on the ice.
Brad, if you could put one guy in the Hall of Fame that's not there right now by decree, who does Brad Marsh put in?
Oh, geez, that's a hard one.
For any reason, just you liked him, stats notwithstanding.
I don't know. I'd have to think. I don't have enough time in the show to
I know.
to
There's a group. Like, obviously, Keith, McGillney's another one that's surprising that hasn't been in for a long time. That'd be my
and Burray.
Just what McGillney did to come over and everything like that, and the way his career was. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird.
John, I'm guessing. I hate to speak for guests, but I'm guessing he's the best player you ever played with. Assuming that's the case, who's the second best player you ever played with?
Played with?
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, when when I went to Pittsburgh, I had a chance to play with Mario and Sid.
Oh, wow.
So
maybe he's not the best player.
And Malkin. So
Wow.
so I played with some pretty good players there, and then obviously playing, in Montreal, I played with Patrick, and here in Philly, playing with Rod Brendamore and the group of guys we had here. The reason I had such a great career is because I had great teammates. And
a lot of people say a lot of people who had great teammates. You were one of those great teammates. You don't score 50 goals 3 times because you play with great players. I mean,
it helps a lot.
It might help a lot, but not the whole thing. John LeClair scored 50 goals 3 times. Brad Marsh is a great defenseman. Phillies are about to play. All kinds of things here at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. On the ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Talk a little bit more about the NHL, the Flyers, with Johnny and Brad. Right after this, stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Come taste and enjoy some featured items from our latest seasonal menu. We make magic with shellfish. Try our cluster of Dungeness crab legs served Chickie style for the entire table to share or make it a meal. And our shrimp po' boy sandwich satisfies with our one-of-a-kind fried shrimp. Pair any of these with a cocktail like bourbon cherry lemonade or our Italian ice crush. Now that's flavor. Come taste and enjoy at Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pat Dion Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at patdionbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here's your host, Paul Jolovitz, Brad Marsh, and their guest, John LeClair.
All right, thank you very much, Stephen Lawler. Final segment here from Chickies in Marlton. We'll be at Audubon next week. A couple more shows as we close out the year with John LeClair and Brad Marsh. Johnny, you're the kind of person, and I know you not very well, but well enough, not to talk about yourself, not to pump yourself up. A lot of people think you should be in the Hall of Fame. You had 3 50-goal seasons, won a cup, 5-time All-Star, blah, 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 list of awards a mile long. And I know this isn't you, but I'm going to ask you to be you for a second. If somebody said, Mr. LeClair, state your case for the Hall of Fame, whether you actually believe that or not, tell me what it would be.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's days when I think, yeah, I get it, and there's days like, why not? But it's just one of those things. It's a huge honor. If that ever got the call, it's be at top of my career, obviously. But I get it. I came up short on a lot of benchmarks, and I think
like what?
I think 500,000 point kind of thing is a kind of a benchmark for a lot of guys, especially if you're going to be known as a goal scorer. You don't even have 500, so something like that could hurt.
All right, the Hall of Fame, other things in hockey along the way. What was your greatest? I mean, obviously you won a cup.
Yeah.
What's it like, especially you won it very young with Montreal? What was that like?
It's terrific. to work all year and to reach the goal, it's just something, everybody dreams as a kid, and then to have it come true, it really is surreal. It's a great thrill. They talk about your family forever with the team, and it's just you went through something together as a group, and you guys you're extra close than you'll ever be with any other team.
Did you grow up a Montreal fan?
I didn't. I grew up a Bruins fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're still much a New England town.
You're closer to Montreal or Boston? You're closer to Montreal, aren't you?
Montreal's an hour from my hometown.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Boston's 4.
Oh,
but
wow.
like I said, we grew up kind of a New England town, watching Nesson and watching the
Gotcha.
Bruins.
Oh, okay.
So Derek Sanderson was a little
Derek
biased
Sanderson.
when it came to the Bruins in Montreal playing. But I had to watch Hockey Night in Canada every Saturday night, so I watched all the Canadian games.
Yeah, yeah.
To be able to, that was another thing, to be able to play in the Montreal Forum.
Yes.
And watching that as a kid, it was a thrill beyond anything. It really was.
Oh, you played for a bunch of teams in your career here, obviously, and you live here. Why?
Yeah. For me, just Philly was a great area. I spent my most time here, obviously 10 years. But it just, I enjoy the area, enjoy the people, enjoy just the whole aura about Philadelphia is awesome. And then personally, my wife and I, we have plenty of friends outside of hockey. So when it was over, it was nice to be in the area with our friends there. And the kids were in school and just didn't disrupt it. So it's worked out great. I can't be happier.
Back to you saying what a thrill it was to play in the Montreal Forum. For me, it was Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens because growing up in London, Ontario, and I was talking to Davey Poulin, who works for Ottawa. They were in 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yep.
We got talking about the younger kids, and we were talking about the first games that you played, and you were playing against these guys that you idolized on Hockey Night in Canada and so on. Mine was Darryl Sittler with the Leafs and so on, and you got to play. And I don't think the young athletes in all the sports have the same excitement about playing in an arena, because the arenas are all basically the same. Every baseball stadium is basically the same. Like Maple Leaf Gardens, it was odd, it was quirky, little small corners. Montreal Forum was like the shrine of hockey and so on. And so I think the modern day athlete, the younger ones, they really do miss out when they hear us old people talking what a thrill it was. Bob Kelly, we talked about him earlier.
Yeah.
He talks about his first game and lining up against the Montreal Canadiens, and then the next exhibition game was against the Boston Bruins, and he was like, oh my goodness gracious, I'm on the ice with these guys. And my first NHL game was against Bobby Orr. He played for the Chicago Blackhawks. Remember, he played a few games. And I was just in awe, and the puck ended up in my defensive corner. He, even on one bad leg, he was still playing and I got to check him, and it was like, whoa, like what the heck's going on? And it's pretty cool.
Guys, we always hear, Johnny, you were on the last Canadian team that won a cup.
Yep.
Montreal in 1938. How important is it for Canada to win a cup? Up there you hear, Brad, incessantly, blah, 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 blah. Here nobody cares, obviously, about Canada winning a cup. But how important is it to Canada to have anybody, Evan almost did it last year, to win a cup?
I think it's huge because the whole nation, for the most part, watches the Stanley Cup. And there's only 7 teams in Canada, so, there's a lot of areas that just cheer for hockey or cheer for Canada to be successful. And when one Canadian team drops out, they cheer for the next Canadian team, and so on and so on. And so it's going to be, we got Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa. Hey, awesome if Montreal snuck in.
Yeah.
I don't think they would advance,
They
but
could.
you never know. And I'm shocked that they're still holding their own, man. It's great.
They'd be in if it was
me, it's
today.
great.
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
selfish like that. I want to hang on to the record. I hope nobody beats it. We're the last Canadian team, so
Well, I like
there
that,
you go.
guys. When they talk to Gretzky about, obviously Gretzky holds a couple other records too, but people say, well, I don't mind if so-and-so breaks my record. Records are meant to be broken. Hell, if I held a record like that, I don't want any record to be broken. Why would I? I mean,
if I had as many as Gretz, I don't know. I could let a couple maybe slide by. He owns almost everything, so it makes
Just
it a
a
little
cup.
easier for him.
so we don't
He had 5 on the ice. He had his 50 goals in 35 games. He scored 5 goals against the Flyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on for the 5th one, so I'm part of the record too.
Are you? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we know what you're doing, Brad. You're head of the Flyers alumni, doing a great job. Johnny, what are you doing today? What's your job with the Flyers, and what else are you doing?
So been fortunate enough the last 2 years to be working with the Flyers. It's been terrific. I'm just really enjoying it. And so that's it. We're the best part is I feel like I'm going to be part of something real special at the end here. And I got on right when we started up, so it's nice seeing this thing getting built and where it's headed.
Are you going to the Frozen Four or any of the
last weekend
playoffs?
I was at Toledo at that regional.
Okay.
And the Frozen Four, there's going to be other guys there, but we have two players
it's in St.
out there,
Louis this year, isn't it?
St. Louis, yeah. So we have the Bump kid from Western Michigan and Devin Kaplan from BU.
Brad, you always talk about pro scouting for pro trades at the deadline, but a lot of amateur scouting coming up with the draft. This is a very, very important draft, Johnny. I mean, all 7 picks, obviously, I doubt will be in the Hall of Fame, but how important is it to really nail this and get a couple of keepers from this draft?
It is, and I mean, Brent Flair has been. I don't think the guy's been home more than 3 days. And that goes along with the rest of our amateur scouts. I see those guys on the road every once in a while, and they're doing a great job there at every game. It won't be from lack of work and doing their due diligence on the players. That's for sure.
And when you guys both played in this city, you played in '87, Brad, when the roof almost came off with J.J. Daniel's goal. You played, roof almost came off a bunch of times. This city, people call Detroit Hockey Town. Most of my friends in Detroit say you're Hockey Town, not us, even though they won a bunch a couple years ago. How would you describe Philadelphia? You both live here, obviously, but how big would this city? You saw the Eagles parade. What would this city be like with another Flyers parade?
Well, I think the Flyer faithful have been very patient, and I think they're all waiting so they can cheer again, and they want to see a playoff game, and it can't happen soon enough for the Flyers faithful for us to be back in the playoffs and to be handing out those silly, I shouldn't say silly, those orange T-shirts, Orange Crush and whatever the name, whatever they call them. And it's so great to see everyone with the orange T-shirts on or whatever color they are for the playoffs. And I think we're ready, we're due, and everybody is just so gung-ho to make the playoffs again.
A little pressure on you guys, Johnny?
No, I mean, that's the goal. That's what, you're not here to be marginal. You're here to be good. And that's what we want to be back to when the Flyers are, punks. Like, it's not if they make the playoffs, it's how far we're going to go in the playoffs.
All right, final thing to talk about. We got about another minute and a half. Tomorrow, guys, our other co-host, Bernard Marcel-Perrant, turns 80. Won 2 Stanley Cups with the Flyers, Conn Smythe both times. Any words from Monsieur Perrant as he turns 80?
He had his birthday party at Wells Fargo last week, so he's already, in my mind, he's already 80 years old.
He's had like 12 birthday parties Jeannie's having for him.
He can't blow out the candles anymore.
The first time the candles go out, it's over. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
You can't keep going.
You're 55, Johnny. What are you, Brett? 61?
67.
67, wow. Looking very good for 67. You guys going to see a Flyers going to win a Stanley Cup? Is it realistic for a fan maybe in the next 6 years? Johnny?
Is that realistic? Absolutely realistic.
How quick do you think? I mean, we've seen rebuilding and hit a couple roadblocks, which every team does. Next year, obviously, the playoffs are a realistic goal. How soon is the Stanley Cup? And it can happen in many different ways. How soon is that realistic to even think about at this point?
I mean, that's what the problem is. I think that's what every fan's excited about. Like, they can see how, Mitch Kopp's going to develop. Yep. And in 3 years from now, with him and some other pieces, like, we're going to be this good. And in 4 years, we'll be that good. It's very realistic, for a Stanley Cup in the near future. And that's what the goal is. I mean, we're not, like I said, we're not trying to build a team that's just going to be trying to make the playoffs. It's about how far we go in the playoffs.
Exactly.
What it's about.
All right, Brad, this is your last show of the year. We wind it down. Anything to say to the masses as you get ready for next year?
No, just go Flyers, go, and keep the faith. And as Johnny said, and the hockey department has said since the new regime took over, is we got a plan, and they're sticking to the plan, and they're stockpiling the draft picks, and we've got a lot to be excited about. Even with the few blips that we've had this year, there's a lot to be excited about.
All right, pleasure this year working with you again. Look forward to it
Thank
next year. Johnny, thank you so much for being here.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Chris Hermer produced this fine program. Stephen Lawler back at the station did a great job as always. From Chickies and Pete's in Marlton for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm Paul Jolovitz for Brad Marsh and John LeClair saying have a great week, everybody, and go Flyers!
You're listening to 1490 WBCB and on your FM dial at 107.3.